Most people are relying on a system that is not designed to truly heal you. That's the harsh reality of Western medicine today. I've seen people taking more than 30 medications a day, trapped in a cycle that only masks symptoms instead of addressing the root cause. You must do your own research, because if you don't, you may never get better. And that is the truth. Today, I'm reacting to a powerful video that pulls back the curtains on why you just can't depend on doctors alone for the answers that you need. But first, please do take a moment and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on these crucial insights, because in the world of holistic health, the algorithm is not always on our side. So your support helps with these important messages so that they reach more people who need them. Now, let's get right into this, because I saw a video that was powerful, and I just really loved what was being said in this video. And we need to have more people address these topics, because we have become a very sick nation. I'm from America, and too many people are sick and don't quite know how to get themselves into wellness outside of going to a doctor and thinking that a doctor will know how to care for you. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm sorry. There are some amazing doctors out there, but for the most part, doctors are not going to be able to help you as much as you think they can. And you've got to wake up and be empowered so that you can make changes. I want to dive into a video. It is going to show you some things that you really absolutely need to hear.
In that practice, what was astounding to me and really became glaringly obvious toward the tail end of my career was that the biggest reason why people are not living longer, healthier, happier, more fulfilling lives were modifiable risk factors.
Now, let me just say this for a moment. When they say modifiable risk factors, these are factors that can be modified. So I want to make sure that you know exactly what that means. Let's go.
They were absolutely modifiable risk factors. By modifiable risk factors, I mean things that they could have easily changed in their diet, their lifestyle, their routines, their medications, their supplementation, food supply, the drinking water. And there's an overwhelming body of evidence.
I have to stop there, because I tell people all the time, it's not some big magic wand that is going to cure you, literally. Like, there are some lifestyle principles that people should be taking every single day that can be more powerful than medication. And I just want to scream it from the mountaintop, because the truth is that medicine is not going to fix whatever issues that you're having. It just masquerades it. It suppresses it. It makes numbers better. I'm not saying that there aren't some medicines that actually do some good. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm just speaking in general about this. Like, there are lifestyle changes that are more affordable and can be so much better when it comes to improving your condition or preventing whatever condition you want to make sure that you don't wind up with, right? There are some ways that you can lower your risk factors, and it just involves day-to-day things that you do that can help to improve you. And I know there are some more extreme cases where you have to go into some sort of blueprint and, helping to reverse some things. And I do suggest to get some level of professional help or some level of coaching or something. Because the truth is, and I have to say this, and we're going to continue, most people know how to do more than what they are doing. And the reason why is because we're not just dealing with knowledge and, okay, here's the steps. Here is what you need in order to get here. Here is the steps that it takes to get the results. It's not that simple. Knowledge does not equal results. What equals results, or what will determine your results, is your paradigm. That's why coaching is so important, because people's paradigms are preventing them from being able to actually walk into the knowledge that they do have and apply it and implement it. Because you may know right now something that you should be doing, but you're not doing. That has to be addressed from a subconscious place. And most people are not understanding this idea that it is your mentality and your emotional resilience that determines a lot of what you will accomplish and a lot of the outcomes that will be given to you. All right. So that's something a little bit deeper, but I just want to say that it does not need to be deep, right? What he just mentioned were simple things that you need to do, right? So here they go again.
Risk factors. I mean, things that they could have easily changed in their diet, their lifestyle, their routines, their medications, their supplementation, food supply, the drinking water. And there's an overwhelming body of evidence. And if you just look at big data on healthcare spending, I mean, the United States spends $4.5 trillion a year in healthcare. We're the largest spender by a huge margin.
I want to make sure you heard that. $4.5 trillion. $4.5 trillion.
We're the largest spender by a huge margin worldwide. We're the leading spender on healthcare, but we're ranked 32nd in the world on life expectancy, 58th or 59th in healthcare delivery. We have the lowest, the lowest life expectancy at birth. We have one of the highest maternal mortality rates. We have one of the highest infant mortality rates. Even though we lead the world in colorectal cancer screening, we lead the world in breast cancer screening, we lead the world in flu vaccinations, and we lead the world in spending. And yet we are so chronically ill. We have more comorbidities, meaning in the United States, there are more people. First of all, we also lead in obesity. So we're leading in a lot of areas. So we're killing.
We're number one, bro.
Wow. Do you understand that? We spend more money. We have all of this stuff going, but yet we still have so much sickness. If that doesn't explain to you that there has to be a different way that we go about doing our health, that I don't know what can convince anybody. This is crazy to have all of this medical intervention and all of this money being spent on health. You would think with $4.5 trillion that we would all be walking around here like like our best fit avatars, like the best version of ourselves, like 8-packs, healthy brain, sleeping like AI, robots or something. Like, I mean, on a whole nother level. And yet we're sick, we're tired, we have inflammation, our knees hurt, we could barely focus, can't sleep at night, wired, and then tired. Like, this is a very serious wake-up call, because we have to understand that the way things are designed for us is not going to effectively address our health problems. And so what does that mean? That means you got to look for a different way. It ain't this way. I'm sorry, it's not working. And people get so upset when I say that doctors don't have the answers. And when I say doctors, I don't mean all doctors. The ones that come away from conventional medicine and wind up researching on their own and looking at real case studies and, basically, throwing themselves into self-improvement and self-study, those are the ones that probably are going to really have more answers than not. It's the ones that are sitting up, spending all of their time in the clinics, addressing all of your issues, and they don't even have time to figure anything out. All they can do is give you some medicine and move you about your way, because it's too many problems, first of all, and they're too limited on time, and they're overly stressed, and they don't have enough education because they don't even have time to study. You coming in there and you got back pain, you got your knees is hurting, and you got, high blood sugar issues, your blood pressure is high, you got heart palpitations, you're starting to get pain and muscle weakness, and you're overweight, and you're dealing with autoimmune diseases. They don't have time to figure this stuff out. When are they going to have time to sit down and evaluate? I mean, it will take some time to ask you some questions and really dig into your life to try to figure out how they can help you. They don't have time. They have another appointment in 15 minutes. They got to get you in and out. And if you got some pain, hey, let me know. If you're having a heart attack or you feel like you're dying, then maybe we'll do something. But you got to barely beg them to take tests for you to try to figure out if something's wrong when something is wrong and you're getting symptoms. All they know is I got another appointment in 15 minutes. Come back a different day for a different problem. Here's some medicine. Go home, take this. Well, what about the side effects? Oh, it's okay. Just take it, okay? Take it. You happy, I'm happy, we all happy. No, we're not. It's just crazy the way doctors are dealing with people. And then they're unhealthy. Like, this isn't going to work. We got to find something else.
Telling you.
Go us.
But, you know, when you look at comorbidities, which are multiple chronic diseases, so hypertension, morbid obesity, diabetes, thyroid, you know, all of these different, what we call comorbidities, we lead the world in comorbidities, right? So we know that spending doesn't equate to outcomes, right? Because if it did, we would have the longest life expectancy, the lowest rates of obesity, the highest rates of healthcare delivery. We would have low infant mortality rates. We'd have low maternal mortality rates, and yet we don't. And so now I think people are waking up to the fact that they need to become citizen scientists.
Citizen scientists, meaning you have to do your own research, become your own doctor, get a PhD in you and how you operate, how you respond to certain things. Like, forget about getting a PhD in everything else if it's not going to be a PhD in you, understanding you. I'm not against education. Don't twist what I'm saying. I'm just saying, why are you getting a PhD in all of this other stuff and you don't know you? You don't know how your body operates. You're going to leave it up to somebody who didn't create you, who don't know you, to have all the answers? Like, if they do enough study and research and they do their due diligence as doctors, yes, they may help to provide you with some answers that you don't have, but that's the minority. So you have to do your own due diligence. You have to study and become a researcher, a scientist of yourself. It takes time, but this is where we are.
I think people are waking up to the fact that they need to become citizen scientists, right? It's and it's not necessarily anti-big pharma or anti-modern medicine, because I think we would both agree that if we hit a windshield at 20 miles an hour, I want a surgeon, I want painkillers. I mean, I want it all, right? I want to go to good orthopedic. You know, if I get pain in my chest and it starts to radiate down my arm, I'm going to the ER.
I often say you should definitely go to the doctor for like broken bones and surgeries and extreme stuff. You know, you feeling pain in your chest, you know, all of that stuff. Go to the doctor. What we're talking about here is chronic disease. Okay, chronic disease. All right.
I want to go to good orthopedic. You know, if I get pain in my chest and it starts to radiate down my arm, I'm going to the ER, right? But aside from the crisis intervention, right?
Exactly.
I'm not going to go to the third leading cause of death to prevent death, right? And by the way, there's, you know, modern medical error is the third leading cause of death, and that's not my opinion. That's the opinion of Harvard and Johns Hopkins, and looking at ICD-9 and ICD-10, ICD-11 codes in healthcare, and looking at how many times medical error leads to unnecessary death. So what I'm saying is that that's not where I'm going to go to get my advice on how to live longer.
I love it. I totally agree with you. That's why I don't really practice medicine anymore. That's why I left medicine. Yeah. I spent 2 decades of my life getting medical degrees and training in medicine, and I don't do it anymore because of this, just, you know, because of this loss of my religion in medicine when I was doing it. So I totally agree with you. So this is really interesting because Western medicine, with all of those accolades, we're number 1 in obesity, we're number 1 in diabetes, you know, go Western medicine.
Don't forget, you know, infant mortality rate, maternal deaths.
But look at what Western medicine recommends, right? We had this recent food compass come out from Tufts, good old Darius Mozaffarian. Right. You know, Fruit Loops and frosted mini wheats are healthier than milk, meat, and eggs. Western medicine, Harvard will recommend canola oil. They'll recommend seed oils. They'll recommend 10 to 12 servings of whole grains per day. All these kind of things. And you think, okay, why is Western medicine so proud of what it's achieving? When you really look at the stats, and Western medicine should be demoted to the minor leagues. It's not even a AAA player.
All right, let me say this too. So when you go to your restaurants, start to ask them about the seed oils. Most restaurants put so much seed oils in their food, it's ridiculous. And it's causing problems with your health in general. So make sure that you are questioning, what are you putting in my food? All right. If they put seed oils, if they put canola oil, all of that, just swap it out for butter. Just swap it out for butter. Okay. Because a lot of restaurants are using seed oils, and seed oils cause a lot of inflammation. And I don't even know why they still have it in these restaurants. And, like, of course, it's cheap. Okay. But we have to do something about the food that we serve our people. Like, this is, we're feeding our people poison half the time. And it's just sad. But I just wanted to give that simple thing. You ask them, hey, if you are using any vegetable oil or canola oil, can you please swap it out for butter or tallow? That's beef fat. All right.
Okay, why is Western medicine so proud of what it's achieving when you really look at the stats, and Western medicine should be demoted to the minor leagues? It's not even a AAA player. It's definitely not major league player.
And you look at the size, I mean, it's a war machine. Diabetes is a $110 billion industry in the US. Wow. And so if you think that there's a meeting going on inside of some big pharma boardroom to put that out of business, going, hey, how do we get this off the balance sheet? It's not happening. Right?
I've told this story before. I have a friend in the health space. He's in the tech health space. And he told me, and I could never reveal all the details, that he used to work at a big hospital. And he was in one of these meetings where at this big hospital, they were saying, we don't want to actually fix diabetes because that'll affect our bottom line.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Well, all right, so basically doctors don't really want to fix you. They're going to make less money if you're well and you're not dependent on medication. So they're not always in favor of trying to find a natural route or getting you off of medication. And I've heard stories that are just absolutely wicked concerning even surgeons that laughed about doing surgeries and stuff that people didn't really need. And this isn't to scare you or anything, because if you really do need a surgery, of course, talk to your doctor, get a second, get a third opinion. If you don't feel comfortable with it, use your intuition. But a lot of times when you're dealing with just chronic inflammation and chronic health problems, doctors, they really don't want to get you well. And when I say doctors, I'm not, again, saying every doctor. There are some good doctors. But I'm telling you, just like he just said, there are doctors that this will go against their bottom line. And they have pressure from above their rankings that pushes them to meet certain requirements of how much medicine they, deal out to their patients and stuff. So it's not just them. There's a lot of pressure that comes outside of themselves, beyond their control. And there's even sometimes, intimidation. There is blackmailing that can happen. Then sometimes maybe doctors or health professionals have to determine, okay, do I risk this, or do I just go ahead and do what they want me to do? So, I mean, it's not black and white, and I get that. So I'm trying to be as fair as possible when I critique what doctors are doing. And I do speak in general most of the time. And I'm not speaking of all the good doctors and the ones that stand up for what's right and go against the grain and they do what's best for their patients. I'm talking about the ones that either don't because they don't know it and they're ignorant of the information that they need to provide you, or they know that they're going to take, maybe a loss in money, resources, if they actually, try to help you, or they're being super pressured or blackmailed. And trust me, there's a lot of stories out about that, where doctors were blackmailed or threatened to lose their job and things like that if they don't abide by certain rules. So it's deep, it's dark, and it's a web that is hard to untangle. You know what I mean? Just with, just saying like, hey, why don't you walk away? I'm not in their shoes. We're not in their shoes. So I'm not judging them. I'm just saying that you have to stop relying on them. And you have to take an independent kind of venture into certain areas that can help to get you where you need to go. If you want to be well, I'm just saying you have to disconnect from thinking that they're going to have the solution for you. That's it. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just trying to put the truth out there so that you can start thinking independently and creatively for yourself about the game plan that you need. Because if you are dealing with a chronic disease and you're going back and forth to the doctor and you're trying to talk to them about a game plan and they just throwing medicine your way and, you know, like, then that means you have to pivot. All right. Now, if you do have a great doctor that's working with you, that's trying to get you on the right path, that's entering you into wellness, great. Oh, man, you're blessed. But this is a wake up call for those who have probably tried everything that they can and they still are not getting the results and they're not satisfied with, you know, their doctors or whatever. And I thank God for doctors. I just want to keep saying it. I do thank God for doctors, you know, and them being able to be there to save lives. The good ones, the ones that are really doing their best and they have pure motives and pure intentions. Whether they get it right or wrong each time, that's neither here or there. It's all about motives and intentions. And we're blessed to have them. But because of the lack of education and the restrictions, the limitations, and the way they're governed, you know, again, this is your life. This is your life. They are not responsible for you. They are not responsible for your well-being. They're not. They're not responsible for your health. They're there as co-laborers with you. They are co-consultants. You all should come together with a game plan. And if they can't do that for you, then you need to walk away and do what you need to do because you're the CEO of your own health. All right, let's get back to it.
And he was in one of these meetings where at this big hospital, they were saying, we don't want to actually fix diabetes because that'll affect our bottom line.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Well, you know, it's yesterday. Was I in Orlando yesterday? Yes, I was in Orlando yesterday. I did an Access Hollywood event in Orlando. And so I came to the back of the theme park and they walked me through Universal to get to the center of the theme park. And on my way there, I must have passed 20 dozen morbidly obese families. And some of them I would see grandmother. And if you don't believe me, go to Universal Studios, dude. It's hard not to say something. I wanted to be like, excuse me. But you know, grandma's in a wheelchair, you know, a little motorized. They give you the motorized one and with a 2 liter of soda. And then, you know, mom's, you know, waddling behind grandma. And then there's a kid, you know, I estimated he was probably 13 years old. The whole family had fanny packs on. And I was like, I asked the security guy that was walking me through the park. I was like, what's with all the fanny packs in here? Is it like a Disney thing? He goes, no, they can't put their hands in their pockets. I was like, whoa, actually made sense. I'm like, dude, the kid's 13 years old and neither he or his mom can put their hands in their pockets. And then about 50 feet later, I run into this kid with his parents and he's sitting on a bench. And he has a 64-ounce Big Gulp in his hand. And he had a funnel cake it was on a paper plate and you could see the oil coming through it.
Seed oils, not salad. This ain't a funnel cake made with butter.
And I told him on the way there, I'm like, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how families can navigate the theme park. And we did. And ended up, I get goosebumps saying it because I was like, this is the problem. I said, you know, 64-ounce Big Gulp's got 38, 39 teaspoons of sugar in it. Then you got a funnel cake, which is basically, you know, highly processed, bleached, fortified or enriched white flour, deep fried in very likely peanut oil or Wesson oil or canola oil, and then put on a plate with 10x sugar. And so that's got 44 grams of sugar. They're getting 38 teaspoons, 39 teaspoons of sugar in a 64-ounce Big Gulp, which is 4 or 5 full cans of soda. Nobody thought anything was wrong with that. And kids just sucking away on the soda and mashing down that. And he, you know, I felt so bad for him because he was already morbidly obese. I estimate this kid was probably 13 years old. And so, you know, I think the masses need this information. And there's guys like you and I out there, and there's all kinds of great guys out in the industry.
Let me just comment on that because it's very difficult when you have all these different restaurants and places that are using unhealthy ingredients. You know, of course, when a kid goes to a theme park, they're going to want a funnel cake and ice cream and, junk. And I'm a parent, so I kind of understand, being super extreme with kids and not being able to, give them a little fun here and there. But just like he even mentioned, it's not butter, right? Like, even if they just use butter instead of the seed oils, or, like, just replacing some of these unhealthy ingredients with healthier ingredients could really help a whole lot. And I know about the whole funnel cake thing. I actually did an experiment on this like a long time ago. It had to be over 15 years ago. And I remember being at a theme park and I had just eaten, and then everybody went to go get funnel cakes. And I don't really eat funnel cakes. But even back then I didn't, because I don't do a whole lot of dessert like that. And so I do a little bit of dessert. Don't get me wrong. I do ice cream and stuff like that, but I love like homemade ice cream and stuff. But I remember thinking, hey guys, I'm gonna eat a funnel cake with you guys, and I bet you we're gonna be like hungry in 20 minutes or so, even though we just ate. And so we all got a funnel cake, and like I said, I hadn't eaten a funnel cake in years. This may be over 15 years ago. I can't even remember, but we ate the funnel cake. And about 20 minutes later, we was all starving like we never ate. And I'm like, you see, I didn't quite know exactly what that was, but I was like, see, something's wrong with this way of eating where you could have eaten something and then now you eat this and then all of a sudden you're back hungry again. Like, what's going on in our brain and in our body that's making us hungry again to overeat on calories when we shouldn't be? Like, I mean, I know today it's just that type of food cannot be transferred into energy. And if you don't have enough energy coming from food, if it's not able to convert to energy, you're going to still lack energy, even though you've had a lot of calories. And then it's going to make you just continue to eat because your body is really saying, I need more energy. I didn't feel energized. Like my body wasn't able to take this food and turn it into ATP. Turn it into energy to be utilized. And so now I feel like I got to go back and eat some more because I don't feel satisfied. And so your hunger hormones kind of get out of place and everything. And so that's how a lot of food is designed. And that's really why people overeat and eat a lot of calories, because they're empty calories and they don't satisfy your body with the fuel that it needs and the energy that it needs to do its job. And so then the body starts saying, I need more energy. And so you go back to more food because you feel like I'm hungry. I need more energy, and you just keep eating food that's not giving you any energy. And so you're always lacking energy, even though you're eating a bunch of calories. And this is designed with some of the chemicals and some of the ingredients that they put in foods. So it would be really nice if you could go to a theme park and eat some good snacks that maybe just have better, healthier ingredients in them. I'm not saying that they're the best, but I am saying that they will be much healthier than what's available. Like, for example, if you have potato chips and they're made with all of this junk and seed oils and stuff, it's not real food. But then if you have maybe a potato chip brand where you are using just potatoes, maybe avocado oil or olive oil. I'm not saying that that's the best, but it is better than the seed oils, and maybe some salt, then that's much healthier than the conventional stuff. Like, I make homemade potato chips for my kids sometimes. So, and I make them out of real potatoes. This is real food, and I don't use seed oils. So, and they love them. So there are healthier ways that you can make foods that you absolutely love. There's healthier ways to make pizza and ice cream and pastries, and pancakes and things like that. We just got to put better ingredients in our food. And so it's sad because when your child goes away, you're not with your child all the time. And even for me being a parent, there's only so much I can really try to, gear my child in the right direction. Usually when they're younger, of course, because you're getting all their food. But when they become teenagers and they go out there and they go to school and it's all the unhealthy food out there and, and they're going different places and there are no healthy options, what do they think kids are going to choose? Like, they leave them no options but to choose a bunch of addicted, malnutrient, like lacking all kind of vitamins in these foods. They are just empty calories that's causing our kids to become obese. And some of it is the parents' responsibility, but beyond that, like, these organizations and the food industry, they're not giving better options. I can do everything I can in my household to make sure my kids eat healthy, as teenagers. But then when they go out and they're out all day, it's school activities, extra curriculum thing, like, and there's all this access to other things. It's very difficult. I wish that the food industry and restaurants would just please offer healthier habits. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard for a parent. It's hard for kids. It's hard for America. We're struggling right now.
All these great mentors that are espousing great information, but we have to somehow figure out a way to get the message to the masses. And maybe not focus on being such woke biohackers talking to other woke biohackers. Because by the time you're considering photobiomodulation and sunlight and breathwork and NMN, you're already pretty woke to, what a mitochondria is. But I realize the paucity of just basic information that is out there for the masses. And it really hit me like a ton of bricks walking through Universal. I'm like, this is where the problem starts. If we don't fix the food, we'll never fix the pandemic of disease.
I wonder where it all starts, because I think that if you ask that 13-year-old that's obese, is this healthy food? Do you think this is good for you? Or you ask the parents, they probably get offended.
Yeah.
But do you think that they think
let me have soda that often?
Yeah. Do you think that they think this, maybe that's a treat because they're at Universal Studios?
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about that food, I think about calories, I think about macronutrients, and I think about essentially zero micronutrients and zero food information. This is so interesting to me because there's a lot of discordance that I see in the literature between a funnel cake, the granulated sugar on top of a funnel cake, and what happens when you eat fruit or honey. And there's so much more information in whole foods,
right?
Polyphenols or other compounds in the fruit that affect
better satiation responses.
Yes, that affect the way that the sugars are metabolized in the gut. But when we strip all those things away and you have a processed sugar, you have a processed oil, you have processed flour, the information is not complete. You're basically giving the body a program that's not complete. And it's no wonder that we get
highly inflammatory. It's carbonated, first of all. Yeah. So guess what's going to happen? First of all, the kid's going to fill up. And 45 minutes later, he's going to be hungry again.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. And then he's going to want a corn dog.
Which they got.
Yeah, they got those.
Also cooking seed oils. Also, that's available for you. This might be part of the design.
Yeah. And so I agree with you. I think it's about the messaging. And I think that, with the agricultural revolution in general, was, I think, one of the worst things that ever happened to humanity from the standpoint of we didn't start to mass produce foods for nutritional content. We did them for profit. And it's also the way the healthcare industry is designed. When the people that are making medications that are in service to humanity have no fiduciary to the people that are taking those medications, they have a fiduciary to a shareholder who's an investor that's looking for a return. I think that the system is ass backwards, right? Completely. Because if I knew that you were making a chemical or a synthetic or pharmaceutical or food that I was going to feed my family, I would want to know that your interest is aligned with mine and my family's interest, but it's not. It's actually the polar opposite. By law, you don't have a fiduciary to me, even though you're making a product that I'm going to consume, a chemical I'm going to put in my body. You have a fiduciary, a legal obligation to which you could be sued for, to your shareholders, to your investors, to generate a return. So I think we're disoriented with how we incentivize.
Remember with the doctors, I said it goes beyond just them. The food industry is pressured to give a return. So it's not black and white. It's not a straight line. It's not linear. It's complicated. But we need help. We need help with our food.
How we incentivize, big pharma, how we incentivize the food industry, because we're not in service to humanity. We're in service to, and look, I own a for-profit company. I have nothing I don't think there's anything wrong with producing a product or service and make profit on it. But I think that when your fiduciary lies to someone other than the people that you report to serve, you have this disconnect.
Totally.
And I think that's, where a lot of this comes from. I mean, yeah, I have an Amish farm right up the street from me called it's Healthy Food Choices, and it's called My Healthy Food Club. And I got raw dairy and kefir vegetables and A2 cheese and yogurts and grass-fed meats, and I got all kinds of stuff from them. They're pasture-raised eggs, and they're an Amish family. And week before last, they were raided by the feds. And they sent out a letter and said, "Hey, we've been shut down. They destroyed all our food, and we're under investigation." And I was like, "Well, did somebody get sick? I mean, did somebody get a salmonella from the milk?" And they said, "No. No one got sick. They're saying that we're not properly licensed. We can't sell raw milk and raw dairy and raw cheese." And so they came in and destroyed it all. And I was like, "Well, damn, now I got to go find another place." But I felt so good on that stuff.
Yeah, that's just absolutely horrible. Like, because there's no gain, they come in, they shut down, the farms, and now they can't, sell raw milk or other things to the consumers. And I love Amish stores and places that I could work with farmers, to get healthy food items. And so they, the powers that be don't want us to have healthier food options. It is crazy. But if you can find a local farmer or, a really legitimate like Amish food store that works with their farmers, or a place where you can get healthier food options, for your family, make sure to do your research, because it is very hard sometimes to find good quality food, and it's unfortunate. I hope and pray that there are people who will really stand up and try to do something about this. I have heard some leaders that are really trying to go after the food industry and ultra processed foods. So hopefully we get some breakthrough, but I want to always keep you informed and empower you to do what you can. Another suggestion that I would have is to please cook your own food, because if you cook your own food, you are more likely to be eating healthier food. You're not going to put all those ultra processed ingredients in your food that are in other foods that are packaged. And get rid of the seed oils, use, real oils, the butter, the tallow, saturated fats, olive oil, avocado oil, MCT oil, coconut oil. Those are all better options than seed oils. So I just want to empower you. Do what you can. Take whatever steps that you know to take. And if you're ready to dig deeper and uncover the truth behind true healing, just make sure that you check out our free resources linked below. They're designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to take charge of your wellness journey. And also, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you'll never miss an episode. We're here to help you break free from the constraints of conventional health advice and guide you towards real inner change and wellness. Now, make sure that you do share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. What steps are you taking now to research and advocate for your own health? Please do also share this video with someone who needs it. Share the love. People need to be informed. All right, I'm out. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.